Stories that are untold, underreported, and all-out inspirational. Today with our guest, entrepreneur and startup success, Codie Sanchez Baker. Carey Pena reports.
You started up and sold your first startup before the age of 30, and you turned a profit. I mean, that's a headline right there. How did you do that? And what was the startup?
So this was Threads Refined. It's kind of like having your own little Rachel Zoe or personal shopper on speed dial, right? And so we have hundreds of stylists around the country who go around and help people look their best by dressing well. And as a professional woman, I'm sure you're in the same boat, you have to dress a certain way and you've got to look nice, right? And so anyway, so that's what our company did. And the reason I think I was able to sell it is something we'll talk about in my 5 tips, but I am really about guides, sustainability, and outsourcing. So I kind of outsource myself out of every company that I run eventually by really being didactic in everything that I do every single day and outlining guides and then enabling other people to do it better than me.
Were you scared when you launched into this new idea? I mean, that starting something... And then you tell people the idea and they're like, that sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not always this overwhelming, yeah, go do it.
No, well, actually, I think the worst part is that people are like, great idea. Like, I would totally use that. And then you launch the company, you're like, okay, so hey, you want to buy? And they're like, no. So I think you have to get outside of your personal circle of friends in order to make money. And yeah, I was scared, especially for those who have an established persona and something successful, which my finance business was, to go out and then create this little cute fashion blog, it's kind of abnormal.
Right.
Most people stick to one track.
Because one of the things that was very compelling when I first was introduced to you, by the way, thank you, Jim Knapp, who introduced us, a mutual friend who introduced us on Twitter, love that social media, was just how different you have a fitness background, not fitness, finance and fashion, probably fitness too, but finance and fashion, and it's not like you've tried to create just one brand for yourself, that you're very multi-layered, and I found that super interesting and intriguing.
Well, I think you're the same way. You have a media company, but you also do what we're doing here, which is podcasts and on camera. But for me, if people aren't familiar with Marie Forleo, I think I'm a really big fan of hers. She talks about being multi-passionate entrepreneur. And I just think you're a more interesting human being if you don't go to your 9 to 5 every day and do the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
And for I think there's not enough companies in the U.S. that prize that in their employees. Like my company, they love it because I bring ideas and cross-pollination from all these different places. And I don't get static and I don't get complacent and I have a positive energy that I think others bring along.
Since you have seen so much success, I do want to get to these tips because they're really good.
Sure.
But first, just tell us a little bit more about where you are today, what business you're focusing on, because I know you're doing a lot of kind of coaching and helping people to find their own idea of success.
Yeah, well, I think, what's funny about life is I think you try a lot of things, and with each experiment that you have in your career, you find yourself closer and closer to that single thing that you were put on earth to do, right? Which I truly believe. I believe that everybody listening has one skill set that they were meant to sort of spend their lives in pursuit of and share with others. And so for me, what I've found is I love this. I love connecting with other humans, and in some way, if I can, enabling them to go and do that thing that sings to them like a siren song. And so for me, what I do a lot of lately is speaking, writing, and engaging with other humans who are kind of sharing this. We don't have to be some huge, grandiose Oprah in order to make a difference. So that's what I'm spending the most time on.
But it is so true. I mean, like my producer, Shannon Hernandez, who I love so much, he's a great sidepreneur. He's always thinking and he's always got ideas, and it keeps things interesting in life. So let's get to your 5 top tips that you sent to me. And the first one, near and dear to my heart, I tell people this all the time: start with your why.
100%. So I was just in Houston yesterday speaking at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and it was funny. There were all these social media gurus, huge companies, they're killing it, they're speaking with me. But they were very how focused. How do you do a Facebook ad? Boost first ad, blah, blah, blah. And the problem with that is you can do a lot of tactics, but if you aren't aligned to that single unique reason why people should be doing business with you or engaging with you as a personal brand, then all the rest of the hows don't matter. So I'm big on Simon Sinek's Start With Why video. If you guys haven't watched it, like, get on YouTube now, watch it. It takes, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And essentially, what you need to do is figure out your unique purpose on Earth. What makes you tick? And then build that around your business. And if you see the Simon Sinek deal, you have 2 circles, right? Your inner circle is your why, and that's how Apple sells. You don't buy an Apple computer because it's really fast and it's got this great Apple on it. You buy it because you're a rebel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And because you know the company's story. I mean, people get attached to the stories that create the why. I just did a storytelling project with a woman who owns a great outdoor furniture company and Sunset Patio. And she just has a cool backstory. So I told her, I want to know more about how you started your company basically in your backyard. That was her showroom. And she said that there were so many cars finally coming up her street that her husband's like, you kind of got to actually get a showroom. And I just love that because it showed that she had just a natural flair for design. People wanted to buy her products. And then she went 14 years later. Now she has an 8,000 square foot showroom. I love that story. You know, the story of your why. You're passionate about something and how'd you build it?
That's huge because I think at the end of the day, people don't engage with brands. They engage with people.
Exactly.
And that's proven online, a million times over. All the big people we follow are people, right?
And the second on your list, which intimidates a lot of people because it can be very overwhelming, is use technology to help you. And when I read that, I thought, oh, how many people will hear that and go, oh boy, enough with the technology. Every day there's something new. And unless you really understand the purpose of each application with social media or why you're doing those things, it can be truly overwhelming.
Sure. I think this is a life reframe that people need to have. You have to think about these things, technology, your new side business, whatever it is, as a fun experiment. Like, don't leave the little kid behind, right? And so if you think about applications and technology, like, there's no way to fail using them. There's no way to do it wrong. You can't break them. And so you just have to have some fun with it. But the thing I always say, so if the first one is start with why, the second one is use technology. What I usually do is ask myself, what if it was easy? Just that one question in everything that I do. What if it was easy? What would it look like? Then I go to the gods of Google and I ask them, how do I make this easy? And lo and behold, there are a billion people talking about any subject.
Mm-hmm. So you say just don't be intimidated by technology. Look at it as a learning and see what resonates with you and what works.
100%. And especially for social media, like Hootsuite, Meet Edgar, stick those in Google, take a look. They're huge for social media usage.
Number 3, and Shannon's giving us a 2-minute warning. We still have 10 minutes worth of things to talk about.
I'll give you another 5.
Number 3, don't be boring.
Yeah, this is huge. Well, first of all, you're all interesting humans anyways. We all are. I still haven't met somebody when I'm sitting on an airplane, where I'm sitting on a train, where I think, gosh, this human has nothing going on, right? We've had decades on Earth. So I think the point on social media and in your business and everything else is let that little freak flag out a little bit. That's why people like Nasty Gal, right? What a weird name. I buy from that store.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people like brands, or people like The Rock, because he's got this funky, weird deal.
He's so
right?
cool, yeah.
Yeah, and he's not boring.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at his videos, you're not going to get well, thank you for joining us today as I'm weightlifting. No.
I think that is such a good point, and Shannon has actually helped me a lot with this. I'll just be really transparent that, I have a news background, so I was used to being a news anchor, and you get very in the box. So pulling back the curtain and just showing people, look, this is what's happening behind the scenes. Everything's not always perfect. I don't always say everything perfect. I mean, it really has helped me show more of myself to my audience, and that's been very freeing for me.
Oh my gosh. And every time I post something that I think, oh God, I shouldn't have posted that, everybody reacts the best.
Yeah, you were saying that you have your fair share of typos, and sometimes you cringe, but it is what it is.
Oh, I throw it. And people are going to comment on it. I have one friend that every time she's like, no, it's Y-O-U-R, not Y, And I'm just create content. Let's worry about putting out real content, not the grammar.
Number 4, another excellent tip, become an expert. Become an expert in what you are talking about, and people connect much more real with you in that way if you're an expert.
Yeah, I mean, the one line here would be, if you believe that what you are doing, yourself, your team, or whatever, that you're best in class, then you have a moral imperative to go out and share it with the world. And so the only way that you can do that, I think, is by becoming an expert and sharing this information that you have, whether it is in lawn furniture, whether it is in media, whether it is in business. You need to go out and share it. And so there are 5 steps on my website. There's a link to a spreadsheet that has 5 steps of how you can do that. And again, you don't have to be Oprah to do it. You can be you, and you are interesting.
See, I love a girl who has a spreadsheet right there on her website. You don't mess around.
I love
And number 5 on your list, let me scroll down here, is don't only do social media and don't wait for opportunity to come to you. Nothing beats pounding the pavement. What do you mean?
I mean, isn't that true? Well, first of all, sales is sales, right? At the end of the day, I think the only way to have something to be sustainable is for it to be profitable. And so in order for you to have a side hobby, I think you should be paid for that side hobby. And what I mean by that is you need to go out and you need to make some sales calls. And you need to engage with people. And you need to post things on the internet and try advertisements. You can't wait for people to come to you. And that is, I think, a huge fallacy that we all buy into, is that if we put a website up, if we build it, they will come. Wrong. You got to go find them and drag them in.
Yeah, and explain exactly what it is you're doing. You know, I love the fact that your mom is here today. You super cool lady. Hi, Mom. I love the fact that when we were talking about your pre-interview, that you wrote to me that, you went to public schools and you had 2 great parents who really raised you to follow your dreams. And your mom's a teacher, right?
100%. Yes, she's a special education teacher. Talk about patience for 30 years, huh?
But, I think that that's an important message, because in today's society, there is so much made out of where we can put our kids in school. Are they going to be in the best? Or we're going to get on these long lists? And there's nothing wrong with that. But I also think that your point is a good one, that a lot of this starts at home, that any kid really who is backed up by the people around them and told you can go out and achieve, it's huge.
Absolutely. I mean, if I have one thing that I wish every human would do, it would be to always ask. Ask for a % off of your dinner and make it uncomfortable. Ask for the promotion that you want. Ask for the next job. Ask somebody that you're sitting next to that you think's an interesting human a question. And I think that starts at home, because my parents always said to me, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And they let me ask why a billion times.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
I think what I want to do next, if I'm super honest, I love writing. And, when I talk about finding your why and finding that thing that kind of you lose time in as you do it, that for me is writing and maybe speaking. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to take all these ideas and ways that I've built businesses and synthesize them into a really actionable, workshop-oriented book. So I think that's probably next.
You have a lot to say,
Híjole.
and you have a long way to go still. So I'm so excited that you were able to come on the show today. You're in Dallas, but you're visiting Phoenix and your parents, so you're able to stop into the studio. Really appreciate it, Codie. So nice to meet you in person.
Well, it was such a pleasure, and I just love what you guys are doing here, and I hope that everybody keeps listening to Carey Pena, because I just think it's super inspirational.
Thank you. And where's the best place for people to find you?
Sure. So I'm pretty active on Instagram at Codie, Codie, last name Sanchez, Sanchez. Also the same on Facebook. And then I made it easy for you guys. The website is also just CodieSanchez.com.
We'll take some Insta pictures right when we wrap the show. Codie, thank you very much. And thanks to all of you for listening and watching on our live stream. You can always see the show on my Facebook page at Carey Pena, or of course on our website, inspiredmedia360.com. Be sure to subscribe so you stay in close touch with us, and we always love to hear your feedback. Today's show produced and engineered by Shannon Hernandez, brought to you by Inspired Media 360. Until next time, stay inspired.